I'm standing here at the moment, not on top of Mount Arthur, but towards the top end of Mount Arthur, and you've got that beautiful view you can see behind us. I've got Chris with us, who's the ranger. I was going to say one of the rangers, but the ranger that looks after the whole reserve. So Chris, how big's the reserve you've got to look after?
Well, in the old terms, it's 8,500 acres, which is a big slice of country, and it's not flat. Every piece of it's up and down.
Yeah, well, we've had a good walk up here. It's good exercise walking up here, but so it's a fair amount of land to look after.
It is.
You only get to work 3 days a week there.
3 days a week, that's all the money we have.
Yep.
And even that, most of that comes from grants rather than an allocation from anyone to support the trust.
Yeah, and you've got a great trust, a great group of volunteers on the trust.
Absolutely.
And they do some fantastic work in trying to look after and promote this area. And I think that's a really important part of that promotion.
Absolutely. The challenge that we have every year, everyone on the challenge committee, as well as all the volunteers on the day, all it is about promoting Mount Arthur. Yeah. We don't make any money out of it. If we do, we're blessed, but for the biggest part, it is just to promote Mount Arthur.
Yeah. And so you've got walking trails, you've got people who do exercise with some walking, you've got some people who run, you've got some mountain bike trails here as well. So it's something that people can access in terms of some physical activity and really add to the, I suppose, the tourism mix here in Wellington.
Absolutely. We also got horse trails as well, which is another sort of aspect of the reserve, but it's a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. And it's certainly nice as we're walking up the trails there in different views, and I'll try and capture some of those views as we walk back down there. But this is something that I suppose is a little bit hidden, and we'd love to see a bit more exposed from a Wellington perspective.
Absolutely. In fact, it is one of our hidden gems. People don't realise just what is here. Even people in Wellington don't appreciate what they actually have here, which is a shame.
That's right. You sit in Wellington, you can look up and you can see the hills, but you don't realise once you get up amongst them.
Well, there's 16 kilometres of walking trails.
Right.
So you can spend a lot of time up here just on the official tracks, let alone if you want to go bushwalking on your own.
And those 16 k's, you'd walk those each day?
Not each day, no. No. Nice thought, but no.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's certainly some activity that happens up here. It's a bit wet up here at the moment, which is nice to see. But if it wasn't this wet, I'm sure we'd see a few people up here running and walking around.
Oh, you come across people all the time. And a lot of people from Dubbo, believe it or not, come down. You don't have the obviously the topography we have here, and they come down and that's right. Now look, it's a beautiful spot, and again, I'll try and capture a few shots as we walk around a little bit further, but well done on what you do here, and the committee does a fantastic job here as well. The trust itself is amazing. What they do, the time they put in as volunteers, they need to be,
No, it's good, so thanks for your time, and we'll keep walking around having a look.
Very good.
Here with Chris, and as we walk around along the trail, you can see a number of these little signs, Chris, and these are all done by volunteers as well?
Volunteers, yep. Somebody in their own time have actually drawn these. We've sent them away, had them made and put them up. All installation was done by volunteers.
Yeah, it's great. And so people come along as they walk around the trails, learn a bit about nature as they're going, and then continue on their exercise or just viewing of what we've got there, which is beautiful.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Just some of the trails we've got there, as Chris mentioned before, we've got about 16 kilometres of these trails, and these trails have been here for probably 70 years, maybe longer. Apex contributed to these trails and the great volunteer work from Apex, and it was also part of what's known as the old RED scheme, and that was effectively a work for the dole scheme that was in probably around in the 1940s, 1950s. So the work for the dole concept has been around for a long time, and you can see the great work that was done here and something that's still being used so many years later. It is certainly good for people to be able to walk along these steps and get a bit of exercise, get a bit of running up them, walking up and down them. It's part of a great facility that's here in Wellington. So most of the steps on the trail are made up with timber, as is normal, to keep the soil there and stop them washing away. But here's an example of one that's washed away, and an example of one where some more money is needed by the trust, some more government money is needed by the trust to maintain these trails in what is largely an excellent condition, but obviously there's some that are in need of maintenance, but just that lack of funding there. Here's another example of that beautiful view you get from various parts of Mount Arthur. As we go around there, you can see some of the beautiful scenery, and down there you can see the guardrail that's been put on. And Chris, how many years ago would that have been put on?
About 4 years ago.
We're standing here at the Lander barbecue area, and it's interesting that this particular barbecue, the seats in this facility here, were put together mainly with the help of inmates from the Wellington prison. And I love that idea, that program where they do actually have prisoners low risk prisoners getting near to a release date that come out into the community and get involved in local projects, obviously under supervision. Unfortunately, that program doesn't seem to be used a lot anymore, and there's certainly more opportunity in a whole range of communities to use that, but I'd like to see that used a bit more. Here we are at the Oxley Lookout, and the Oxley Lookout isn't very far up the road up Mount Arthur, but you get to see that magnificent view still. Not quite as good as the view from up higher, but a lot easier to get to and a lot more accessible for people. And again, you get that beautiful view over Wellington, see the town sitting down in the valley and the hills surrounding it. Looking here at some of the 7,000 trees that were planted as part of a revegetation project that was funded by the CMA about 6 or 7 years ago, and those were put in, and you can see how well they're doing along this area, and you can see how quick they've been growing.
Mount Arthur and the Trust, I'd just like to wish Matthew all the best for the upcoming election.